For the third individual assignment, I will be going over the 3 types of conflict along with the 3 loci of conflict and the conflict process. I'm going to start off by stating the definition of conflict as taken from our textbook. Conflict is defined as a process that begins when one party perceives that another party has negatively affected or is about to negatively affect something that the first party cares about. Although this is a broad definition, we will go more in depth in later slides. There are 2 outcomes of conflict: functional conflict, which is the conflict that supports the goals of the group and improves its performance, and dysfunctional conflict, or conflict that hinders group performance. There are 3 categories of conflict. These are task conflict, relationship conflict, and process conflict. Task conflict is conflict regarding the content and goals of the work being done. Relationship conflict is conflict regarding interpersonal relationships. Process conflict is conflict regarding how the work is being done. Knowing what type of conflict a disagreement is will help in the process of resolving it. Along with knowing the types of conflict, it is also important to know the 3 loci of conflict. These are dyadic conflict, intragroup conflict, and intergroup conflict. Dyadic conflict is conflict between 2 people. Intragroup is conflict within the group. Intergroup conflict is conflict between groups. Each locus requires a different form of resolution. Knowing both the category and framework behind the conflict will allow for resolution. The conflict process has 5 stages: potential opposition or incompatibility, cognition and personalization, intentions, behavior, and outcomes. Stage 1 is potential opposition or incompatibility. This includes the appearance of the conditions. This could be problems in communication, structure, or just personal variables. These conditions don't always need to lead to conflict, but it is necessary for one of them to be present for conflict to happen. Stage 2 is cognition and personalization. Stage 2 is where the conflict is actualized. This stage is important because this is when the conflict is defined. Conflict is personalized in this stage as both parties decide what exactly the conflict is about. Perceived conflict and felt conflict decide how the conflict will be handled. Perceived conflict is the awareness that there are conditions where conflict could occur. Felt conflict is when emotions get involved. Stage 3 is intentions. Intentions are decisions to act in a given way. Some intentions include competing, collaborating, avoiding, accommodating, and compromising. Competing is when someone wants to satisfy their own interests without caring about what it does to the other party. Collaborating is satisfying both parties' desires fully. Avoiding is suppressing or ignoring the conflict. Accommodating is one party being selfless and placing the other party's needs before their own. Compromising is when each party is willing to give up something. Stage 4 is behavior. Stage 4 is where conflicts become visible. This stage includes the actions, statements, and other reactions made by the parties. In Stage 4, each party has behavior relating to their own intentions. Stage 5 is the outcomes on conflict. The outcomes, as explained earlier with the definition of conflict, can either be functional or dysfunctional, or in other words, it can either increase or decrease group performance. Conflict knowledge is important in every workplace. No matter what industry you work in, there is no escaping conflict. It's unavoidable. Companies and organizations need to be excellent at resolving conflict because if they aren't, it will cost their company time and money. An article on entrepreneur.com quotes a study that said in 2008, U.S. employees spent 2.8 hours per week dealing with conflict. This amounts to about $359 billion in paid hours. This shows how costly conflict is and how important knowledge about conflict is in the workplace.